Here's the latest on what we know going on in earthquake-ravaged Haiti. U.S. officials say search and rescue efforts remain in full force despite diminishing hopes of finding any more survivors within the rubble of the Haitian capital. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and a team of relief workers are en route to Port-au-Prince. And as President Obama enlists the help of former presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton to help raise money for the Haitian relief effort. We'll have much more on that in a moment. But first, food supplies are beginning to trickle in for survivors who have gone without food for 4 days now. But in one instance, confusion over the safety of certain items meant the hungry actually got nothing. CNN's Chris Lawrence joins us now from Port-au-Prince with more on that. We're talking about a confusion over what was stamped on these energy biscuits, right?
That's right, Frederica. There was one stamp that said, like November 2008. That was the date it was packaged. There was another stamp that said November 2010 is the date it expired. So these biscuits were good for the rest of the year, but people saw that second date and a massive misunderstanding just led to people throwing away a lot of very good food. Of a United Nations truck heading to the center of the city. You can see we're jammed in pretty tight with a lot of the same supplies that the World Food Program is going to be delivering to the people of Haiti. You can take a look next to me. You can see some of the UN guards. It's going to be their job to try to keep some form of order so things don't get out of hand. The truck's now made it here to the park near the presidential palace. A lot of people starting to push and shove their way, trying to get up to where the food is. You can see a lot of the men pushing their way up. Haven't seen any of the women be able to get up here. It's swiftly getting a little chaotic here. They had to stop it. They start blowing their whistles and had to stop it about 10-15 minutes ago. It just started back, but it seems to only be able to last for about 5 minutes before it starts getting out of hand again. The thing that I'm noticing too is there's a lot of small kids in there that are getting jammed up against other people, or they're just getting pushed out of the way entirely. The World Food Program is trying to distribute water purification tablets and high-energy biscuits. The biscuits are vitamin fortified and okay to eat, but a massive misunderstanding about the expiration date is causing people to refuse to eat them.
It's not good. It's not good like that, okay? It's not good like that. Oh, bon. Not good.
What is wrong with the biscuits? Why don't people want to eat?
It's a bad thing. It's a bad case.
What's happening is they're confusing the date that it was packaged on, which was 2008, with the expiration date, which is November 2010. I know it's hard to see, but he's basically yelling and telling people do not accept these biscuits because they're no good.
They are very concerned, but the biscuits are very good and they're okay now.
But you can see everybody's following the truck, but there it goes. They're trying to even just hold on to the back of it, but it's pulling away. A lot of people ended up with nothing, but I don't know if you can still see, they're running after the truck trying to get it. But that truck's gone now. The most frustrating thing about that was that I watched those trucks get loaded up. I could tell you there was probably half a truck full of supplies still in there. Another big concern besides food, water is obviously medical attention. What we see here is a triage that's been set up right here on the street corner. Instead of having to make people come to other people to try to, trying to get these people to go to a hospital or clinic can be very, very difficult. So what they've done is they brought the medical attention right out here on the street. Right now I'm watching a woman with a huge gash in her leg and her ankle, almost cut in half, and she's receiving treatment. There's several doctors, clinic. We've been watching people come up here for the last couple hours trying to get whatever medical attention they can. Now, again, this is the Haitian government, parts of the Haitian government trying to take some form of control and trying to help some of their own people here. Frederica?
So since you have some of the government representatives there, that means that also helps cut down perhaps on maybe some language confusion with the French or Creole speaking versus, those who don't know that language at all, to convey to them that the energy biscuits, for example, are okay to eat.
Yeah, exactly, Frederica. You know, when you looked at that, you had, you know, English speaking, and you even had some people from the World Food Program who were French speaking, but when people were shouting in Creole, they couldn't necessarily understand them. The UN security guards were, I think, from Nepal, so language can be a big concern. It's one of the biggest differences from this disaster compared to, you know, what happened after Hurricane Katrina. You did not have that same language barrier as you have with a lot of the folks who are coming into some of the programs here.
All right, Chris Lawrence, thanks so much. And Port-au-Prince will be checking back with you periodically throughout the day. Appreciate that. Meantime, we're talking about that. All right, meantime, the doctors, many doctors, are back now. But last night, CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, took care of 25 patients by himself at a field hospital in Haiti. Dr. Gupta quoted doctors at the scene as saying United Nations officials had ordered a medical team to evacuate because of security concerns. A UN spokesperson said this morning the UN did not order anyone to leave, but other organizations might have. Dr. Gupta and his television crew stayed with the injured all night long, even after the generators gave out. He administered painkillers, intravenous drips, monitored vital signs, and stabilized 3 new patients in critical condition. You see him there alone. Medical teams rejoined our Dr. Gupta at the field hospital this morning.
Well, it's around 7 o'clock in the morning now outside these field hospitals, and as you know by now, we had an unusual night. The doctors that were caring for these patients were asked by the United Nations to leave, and we decided to stay and try and take care of these patients who would have otherwise been abandoned. We didn't quite know how this was all going to end, but we know that more patients even came in throughout the night. Patients with head injuries, patients with legs that have been either fractured or even amputated. These are the types of injuries that are happening here. But just a little short time ago, the doctors did return, these Belgian doctors, and they're back to taking care of the patients. I gave a sign out on what was going on with all these patients so they can go forward with their care for the future. Certainly a lot of discussion is going to come out of this, but this is the most important point for me. Patients are all doing great, and they're all going to get great care. Back to you.
All right, that's our Dr. Sanjay Gupta. So again, doctors told him that they were ordered by the UN to leave. The UN this morning saying that other organizations might have told those doctors to leave. We're still trying to sort out the direction there, who gave the directive to those doctors. And of course, when we get that, we'll be able to bring that on to you. Meantime, 2 former U.S. presidents divided by party and policy, but this time coming together in the name of helping Haiti. Last hour here on CNN, you saw President Obama welcome his 2 Oval Office predecessors, former Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton there, drafted by President Obama to help earthquake victims by getting you to help with this effort. Just listen.
Here at home, Presidents Bush and Clinton will help the American people to do their part, because responding to a disaster must be the work of all of us. Indeed, those wrenching scenes of devastation remind us not only of our common humanity, but also of our common responsibilities. This time of suffering can and must be a time of compassion.
Now, we also understand that more medical aid is on the way to Haiti. The USNS Comfort left port in Baltimore early this morning. The floating hospital has around 500 doctors, nurses, and sailors on board. The ship has 12 fully staffed operating rooms and 250 hospital beds. The crew has been warned to expect the worst, but they say they're eager to help.
We're there to render aid, to fill a need. And right now, they need assistance, and that's what we're here for. We're here to give that assistance. We're here to do whatever we can for as many people as we can do it for.
Sadness for the people of Haiti, concern, and hope that we can do the best for them and really help them out, get there as soon as we can, do as much as we can to help out our fellow man.